Barbor's character? Yeah. Yeah, it is. And let's just go ahead and kick this puppy off. I don't think there's anything I start with running out there. I guess I could have started with some gold and stamina potions, but yeah, we'll see. What up, Noogie? What up? I don't need to pick anything up because I'm just going to utilize items I have. So early on, I didn't pick a ton of like early game items. So like level 1 through 6 or whatever is kind of meh. But I don't know Slasho. But I'm very curious to see, you know, how it kind of moves on as the game progresses and we start getting stuff. And will it actually be possible? Can you llama shout Noogie, by the way? Will it actually be possible to do a frenzy or double swing barb? That is the question. Yo, Cal4 with the 5. What up? Let me get some Dalai Lamas in the chat. Appreciate that, man. Dang it, I want level 2. Level 2.
Hype in chat for llama losing another man versus stream. Hype, 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 hype.
Yeah, so this is a punishment run. Thanks, Mariano. This is a punishment run for losing my last what's called man versus stream. Next one, of course, which is going to be 0415, as you can see described below my character. All right, we got level 2. Good enough. Good enough. Hellbarb yesterday? Yeah, that's just ignore that. Ignore that. I need gold. Let's go get gold from our stash. Take gold. No. Let's put our gold away. Okay. So we can shift into using these puppies. And that's all for now. But let's get our Hisaris booties out. And let's get our Lenimo out. Maybe not yet. No Lenimo yet. Okay, we'll do that. No minimap 5? Ugh. No thanks. How long did I stream yesterday? Well, yesterday we were having frame drop issues all over the place, so we ended up just cutting it. Today is yesterday. Today is yesterday. You're legit sore from coffee talk. When did D2 get more stash apps? No, just a mod. So I'm going to talk about kind of the mechanics here of Diablo 2 in a way. So the way that a chance to hit is calculated is based off of what's called your attack rating here, as well as your level versus the level of the character that you are fighting, right? The monster. So there's a lot of that you have to kind of consider when playing through this game, and that's something that while I can adjust things like the attack rating by having all these awesome items, I can't adjust the levels of my characters, and that's something that I wonder if it's going to affect me later on, such as will this character be viable later on for a double swing build when he has, because he's underleveled. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, that's my MVS info right there. That's my MVS info right there. So that's something that I kind of am curious to find out, I guess. Is this character viable in later stages with awesome gear? With awesome gear, you know, if he's underleveled. So now I can equip these boots, get the 20 faster run walk. These are the things that, like, in a speedrun are huge, right? These are those game changers, items like that. But you still have so much stuff. Choo-choo! You still have so many other things that go into it. It's pretty insane. Yeah, my last MVS stream lasted 20 and a half hours before I conceded. Thus, I have this run here from my from conceding. So, yeah, you'll see that like my chance to hit is still not amazing, and as I try and fight these stronger guys, I mean it's gonna just get worse and worse because I'm underleveled compared to them. So, you are confused. How is you confused, Stroba? I know I might fix it. I might just go change it on the title. The first one lasted 17 hours before I quit. The 17 and a half. The second one lasted 17 hours and then I won. And the third one lasted 20 and a half hours before I let it go. And I let it go. Yo, rigor mortis. Thank you for the sub, bud. Welcome to Llamas of the Round. And I let it go at like Hell, Bale, Throne Room, but it was just getting to a point of silly. I was naked and dead and completely out. See, here's my like chance to hit. Already going down.
Have you ever seen the true face of God, Exile?
Yo, Strobel, welcome back. 8 months. Guten Tag. Guten Tag to you too, bud. I love you too, right? I majored in German, so it's whatever. I'm just kidding. No, Teo taught me how to count to 5, though. Yeah, I only had to deal with 494 punishments last time. Long live Oven Mitt. I hate the Oven Mitt so much. So much hatred for the Oven Mitt. I wonder if I have a 2-open socket armor. I don't think I farmed one yet, actually. All right, there we go. We got one. Cool. So that's one of the items. There's a lot of like items that you want to kind of get along the way, right? Because rune words are a big deal in Diablo 2. Such as you find a rune, and combinations of runes and items, gray items like that that are socketed, will yield cool items that they like make. So one of them is called Stealth. It's like the greatest low-level rune word in the game, basically. And so I am going to be all over that Stealth. So you want to kind of like search through and find those things. So. And then, you know, run through here like, yo, S-Roy with the 499. This is, yeah, my favorite amount during an MBS stream. True that. It's me.
Best donation amount ever, just for BYD. Also, I think Mr. Llama still owes him a dinner for the entire family.
Whoa. The whole family dinner. I thought we agreed on me and BYD going and getting fancy steaks dinner. I think that's the idea. I'm not sure I could make a hardcore character and use stuff from that same stash. Like, that is a softcore. My sorceress is softcore, so I feel like this character also has to be softcore. I think that's how this is gonna work. But yeah, so now I'm going to be in the Black Marsh, and normally what you're doing in the Black Marsh is you're looking for the tower and the waypoint, and you're gonna farm to get, and you always want to kill boss groups like this. But you're gonna farm to get your runes and stuff. Now for me, I don't need the runes because I'm just gonna give them over to my character. I've already like planted the runes in the stash, but that's still the best place to get your experience and stuff. So even still, I'm going to be. Come here. I don't know if I have any good low-level amulets either. Let's see what we get here. Sure, why not? Why not? So even still, I'm going to be farming down there just because it's a good place to farm. Dude, these Rixot Keens are doing work. Look at that, almost level 6 at 830. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Rip belt. Yeah. I don't really care. Tell Frisco's. There you go. Uh-oh, did we get a river? No, we didn't get a river. Okay, good. Yeah, so I mean, normally Pluggy, and I mean, like, this isn't like an official speedrun whatever because you're not allowed to use mods and all that stuff. But it's more like a fun speedrun, right? More of a fun speedrun. So I'm very curious to see. I'm 1/20th of the way done. Hooray! Okay. So adding in double swing is definitely a big benefit. That speeds you up a lot. All right, we got tower. And we got a shrine. That's nice. Let's find a waypoint now. Ooh, very sexy. Do I want to get this yet? I guess so. Okay, I'm hoping the waypoint's not up there. I mean, I'm kind of hoping it is up there, but at the same time, I'm hoping it's not because I'm already down here. But who knows? Check, check, check. Okay, so it might actually be up there. Yeah, looks like it is. Unless I've somehow missed it somewhere else on this map. Doesn't look like it. Looks like I've done a pretty good clear. Right here? No, it's not going to be. Okay. Right here? Oh my gosh. Like the most annoying thing in the game. I feel like it is up there, like maybe like tucked in there somewhere. Where's the waypoint at, boys? Where's the waypoint at? Yeah, there should be PoE. There should be experience shrines in PoE. That'd be good. That's why I didn't want to grab that shrine. I was afraid of not finding it down there for some reason. All right. Color me confused. Where's this? Yo. Where is this waypoint? I'm so confused here. Does anybody have a thought on this? Good to see how the pros race, right? It has to be up here? I swear I have checked this. Oh my gosh. Well, nobody saw nothing. Nobody saw nothing there. Wow. Oops. Wow. All right. Saw what? Exactly. GG, boys. GG. Man, I swear I checked there. Oh, mana burn. Cool. So, anyways. We're just going to be using this area to kind of level up. Yeah, rip experience shrine, I know. I had some misfortune at AGDQ. I didn't have anything like that. I just had like the worst maps possible. It was like the waypoint was like all the way in one corner. No shrines. The other thing was in the other corner. It was pretty terrible. Chat is always right. Is that the case? You know, you say that, but then like when I'm playing PoE there, I get told so much information and then instantly contradicted by somebody else. Thank you. I appreciate that, Retro. So exactly is a Pluggy speedrun. Right, so I am utilizing Pluggy to like gift myself sweet dope gear. Essentially. Jeez. Ouch, you hurt so hard. I don't like that curse. Cursed archers, man. That is some painful stuff. That is some painful stuff. Come here. Oh my gosh. This is why melee characters are terrible. Reasons of this nature. And many more. Let's go ahead and bump that. PoE's riddled with trolls. Maybe a little bit. I feel like it's less trolls and more uninformed. When it comes to, you know, people trying to give advice. I think people are trying to be helpful. But I think they just end up not being as helpful because accidents happen. Okay. Let's go with the Nagels. Ooh, Lanemo. Nah, that's way better. Cool. Let's get some potions, though. What kind of Marauder build is this? Double swing Marauder? Is that a thing that exists, maybe? I wonder if rolling the double swords is still better right now. I mean, might as well pick some runes. Why not? Why not? Okay, so we have shrines. We have shrines up here. But yeah, I really don't need the runes. Energy barb, hype. Hey man, I've put points into energy before as a barbarian. No judgment. No judgment there. Do you get the gear from a shared bank? Yes. So this is, I have found all of this gear on my Hell Sorceress already, prior. It's a solo self-found character. So I've gone through the game and found all but 22 items in the game. And so I'm sharing those items over to this character to use and basically see how far we can get having done that. So, yeah. Where is melee source? Coming for sure. Definitely on the way at some point. For sure. Let's do that number. We'll do that number. I know I need to get my dex up some. What's that? Nothing. So the nice thing is I really don't need to spend time farming items on this character. Which is, we're going to see how much of a time saver all the way through. All but 22, yeah. 22 left. All uniques and sets. So. But a couple of them are like ridiculous. One of them's like a mere level of rarity. So. You know, what's you gonna do with that, basically? We'll see. No bosses. Am I allowed to use Pluggy respec? I think anything Pluggy goes on this guy. I think anything Pluggy goes on this guy. So I'm probably gonna try respecking because I want to try out Frenzy, and if you know, double swing or Frenzy, and if those just do not work at all, then I'll give up on it, I guess, and switch over to singing. So I've got gear set up for singing and for for singing and for Frenzy. I guess I don't need these things. I'll keep that though, just in case. Is there anything I do need over here? Who knows? Who knows? You should have to do melee barb with all the gear. Well, that's what I want to try. I want to give it a shot. Yo, S-Roy! Thank you again for the cheer,
Truly
bud.
and unethical barb.
I mean, mildly unethical. Mildly unethical, I feel like, is the appropriate term, you know. Truly unethical. Mildly, maybe. Yeah, using farmed items and kind of swapping them out as the game goes. What is the thing you use to simulate players? I don't think I'm going to do any player simulation. I'm going to keep it on players 1, I think. I'll keep it on players 1, I think. Shouldn't be lagging right now. Every now and then I'll drop a couple frames. It looks like I'm dropping about 1% of the frames of my stream right now. So I don't really mind that. That happens, whatever. Like, my internet's usually garbage. So I will gladly take 1% as opposed to like the 30% that I've been seeing for the past few days. Bot is down? It's Nightbot. How can Nightbot be down? Is Nightbot like .tv down or something? /players8 will simulate as if there are 8 players in the game. That is correct. So you want to like be careful with that. But it basically increases all the monsters to like 450% HP, 450% damage, or 42.5% more damage, and then you gain 450% more experience though and stuff. So it's like takes longer to kill things. You gain more experience. Kind of changes it up. Like I would get like level 18 down in this tower and stuff if I was running on players 8, stuff like that. Why frenzy over Whirlwind? Maybe we'll try Whirlwind too. You know, I'm not 100% against trying Whirlwind. I am open to trying various builds here. It was down? Okay. Yeah, it looks like Nightbot's just down as a whole. I am totally open to trying various builds here. So, I have nothing against trying Whirlwind. I will, and that's the thing, that's why I want to leave the respec option open. Because I want to have that as an option to shift into Whirlwind, give it a shot. If it's terrible, shift out of it, try Frenzy. If it's terrible, go back to singing, you know. Double Bloodletter for Whirlwind. I just don't know if the damage is there on those, unfortunately. Like, I've got double Bloodletter, but I just don't know if it's going to have enough damage. That would be my only concern, really. So we'll have to see how that goes. Okay. I want to make sure I keep enough strength and dexterity to use the items that I want to use. Can I up the Bloodletters? Yeah, but they still won't do enough damage. I do have Grandfather and stuff, but I'm pretty sure the level requirements of that are going to be outside of what I'll ever get to in this run. Like, this run's going to end it as, end around 61, level 61. So anything above level 61 or right at it pretty much is kind of useless. Oh yeah, gotta love Tail Shrines. For sure, for sure. So I'm hoping to have Noogie join us once he finishes his dishes and stuff like that. So we can continue talking more about, you know, what we were talking about on Coffee Talk. We didn't really want to go over like the hour that we gave it, but you know, so we did an hour show and then we ended up talking another hour anyways, just about the game more, which is basically Coffee Talk 2.0. But I think there's still more to be talked about, for sure. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts as a noob, but more I have a lot I want to hear. And I felt like on Coffee Talk, I don't want to say like I was dominating conversation in any way, but I felt like you know, I was talking a lot more because I was trying to give like my thoughts and stuff, and you know, it was more like a question answer there. But I'd like to hear more about like, what does Noogie think? How does Noogie feel about these things, and whatnot. In terms of game insight, knowledge, skill, blah, 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 blah. You have one of the best streams whole Twitch. Wow, thank you, Green Jesus. That is that's very kind. I really appreciate that. Just don't want to be a Morse. Yeah, you know. You know how it is. Rip, rip, rip. No, I try and find the right balance. I think it's very difficult with streaming, right? I think there's definitely a balance to talking to chat, having a good run, making sure you're explaining things, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, nobody's perfect at it. Nobody's perfect. We all try to be, but it's tough. You missed the boat on the podcast. It's not up yet. I guess when it comes up, I'll tweet it out. And I'll post it in my Discord as well. Probably under like announcements or something. Or under PoE, something like that. So. Do you have access to the items that you found? Yes. All items found with my sorceress, I have access to use on this run. That is correct. Unless you're subbed to Noogie, you can't watch the early edition. Okay. Noogie subs, am I right? Oh my gosh. Just the worst. But no, like, if you guys haven't like checked him out, I mean, I know a lot of you guys are Noogie's followers and fans, but if you guys haven't checked him out, he is an awesome streamer. All of the PoE guys are just like the friendliest, just like nicest people, or at least they fake it like that with me. So maybe you guys know them better. You're like, don't be fooled, Mr. Llama, they're terrible. But no, they've all just been like so kind and caring, and just like Morse was saying, you know, they'll all stop and answer any questions you have, which I have a million, because PoE sparks a million questions. One could say that Val sparks them almost. But it's just like, just so yeah, there's a stream to go check out. Just such like a cool guy, and so many of them are. And I've, you know, so many have reached out, and, you know, like, he reached out to me and was like, hey, you know, like, come, let's do a coffee talk and all this stuff. And like, you know, this is just, it's cool when you just come over to a community like that, and they all, you know, people are interested and accepting and inviting and all that stuff. Keep it fresh. Yeah, I like, and I'm really enjoying the game. I'm really enjoying the game. And I think that's pretty important, right? You want to be able to enjoy it. Let's go ahead and just make this right now. Why not? Ithel, Tau, whatever. I mean, it doesn't super matter, I guess, but why not? Okay. Now, let's see. What do we want to use? Do I want to use my Crush Flames here? I want to use these. That'll be for a spirit later if I want to sing. Angelics. Oh, okay. I guess we got to switch over to the Angelic set now. That's only going to be that. Oops. Okay. So now my attack rating is like ridiculous. So let's see how this goes. I'm actually going to reset my skills really quick and shift over to Mace Mastery. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Let's move on. So yeah, so this is one of the like best sets in the game. This is one of the like best sets in the game for early level, because you get a +2 attack rating and a huge life boost. Look at that, 75 to life. You get +2 attack rating, and it's just like one of the ways you can save a character essentially and allow them to actually hit stuff. My armor's red. Yes, I am not using my armor currently. I'm not using my armor currently. That is correct.
Have you ever seen the true face of God, Exile?
Yo, IVP account for 9 months. It's a little baby IVP right there, little baby. Think about that. Think about that for a second. 9 months ago, we had a sub baby, and it is just now being born. Wow! Wow, streamer RNG, boys. Look at that. Let's just finish off this. Oh yeah, let's just get a whole set going here. Let's just get a whole set going here. Wow, cannot be frozen. Oh my god, streamers are the worst, man. Streamers are the worst. Just had to make it weird, right? That's crazy. That's crazy. Hacks. That's pure streamer right there, man. Felloc is coming, dude. If I find Felloc on this character, I think that counts. I think that counts. Why am I not using Devil Swing? Legit run. Wait, no, I forgot I have knockback from Crush Flange. I hate that. All right. Alright, maybe I gotta rethink this build now. Rip. That's pretty annoying. That'll be pretty annoying, actually. Baby, you got yourself a stew. I don't need that. See if we can take on the Smith, though. Bam! Bam! Who's the strongest of them all? That's right. Fellow on this character will not count. What? Oh, that's some bogus BYD. I hate you. I hate your rulings. Is this an ethical run? You know, what does ethical really mean? You know, is accepting a tabula rasa from somebody in chat, level 1, really unethical? I think there's some debate to be had there. I think there's some debate to be had there. I think there's some debate to be had. Alright, so I'm hoping that these Angelics basically allow me to hit things for the rest of the game. That's essentially my hope.
No one should ever be caged.
Yeah, this is probably the most unethical. No, using a hero editor would be the most unethical speedrun. Guaranteed, that would be the most unethical speedrun. Alright, so I wanna ask chat. I wanna get chat's opinion. Those of you who currently play PoE, how many of you used to play Diablo 2? How many of you used to play Diablo 2? Give me a 1 if you did, and a 2 if you didn't. Right up there. Dude, if Tyrion's might drops, though, it does count. I don't care. 1 if you did, 2 if you didn't. 1. Dang. All right, cool. So every single person in the world. Except ICF. ICF is the loner. And Chunas. There you go. A couple 2s. Wow. Wow. That is, that's more than I thought. That's more than I thought, honestly. That's, you play D2 after playing PoE. Interesting. Interesting. Ticket 1. I mean, there's a small selection bias, but there's, you know, there's some people who came over. I just want to know how many people came over that hadn't played D2, I guess, and we're playing, you know, we're watching stuff. But yeah, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get that bias for sure. I mean, it's a Diablo 2 stream. What do you expect? But interesting, interesting. Yeah, it's a thing. There's a lot of people here from Noogie stream, so I figured maybe some of them have enjoyed the pleasures of Diablo 2. So, I don't know. I'm a fan of both, you know? I'm a fan of both. But what I love most about PoE right now is that it has, besides like being kind of like updated and stuff, I actually do enjoy kind of the update. I mean, I love the old classic D2 looking stuff, but you know, updates are nice. But what I love the most about it is that it has potential, right? Diablo 2's essentially out of potential. It has run its course. You know where it's at. Everybody knows where it's at. Its player base is only really going to stand where it is or dwindle some. They're not going to add in 6 new acts. You know, all that stuff isn't going to happen. So the potential of D2 is gone. Amazing classic game, but not really going to move forward. Whereas PoE, you have that, and you have such active devs that are pushing it forward. And that is, that's I think, the greatest thing. Can I explain D2 mods? Sure. There are a lot of mods. Stop crushing on dreams. Hey, maybe Blizzard will do something though. You never know. Maybe. So this is a Diablo 2 mod, right? So it kind of sits on top of the game in a way and modifies it. So this one doesn't modify the core components really, right? There are some that are like they change up how the spells interact and like, oh, now you have a barbarian that can cast out like a poison nova of frost bolts and stuff. You know, they can like completely change everything. But with With this mod, all it's doing is it's adjusting the game to have a different stash. So your stash is larger, and basically it just gives you options that like online has, where you can run Ubers, you can do things like respec. I mean, this isn't something you can really do online where you just click a button, but it's like having a token of absolution. So you can just like respec your character and stuff like that. So it's just like some nice enhancements to kind of make the game a little bit easier, more friendly, whatever you want to say. It does. Oh my god, what maps? Are you kidding me? Wow. But they don't like change Runewords up and all that stuff. Yeah, Poison Nova Frostbolt. Hey man, exactly. Why would you want to remaster D2? Yeah, there's a little bit of that thought as well, for sure. Ooh, level 12. Do I want to do anything else on level 12? Oh no, I think I'm just gonna smoke down Indariel. Yum, 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 yum. Let's just get double swing to a freebie. I'll take a diamond, why not? Let's go. Do I want anything else to be used right now? No. Okay. Cool. Dude, I would love to help with Diablo 4. Wouldn't that be like the coolest job ever? So apparently with few pieces, the 50. Oh yeah, smiters are like super OP. Wow, nice map. Why do I feel like this would be so much more fun as a MVS? Never in a million years. The only way I would do that is if I could save my character somewhere else, so I didn't lose any of my gear. But the problem is, like, you guys would burn through all this gear so quickly and I'd be down to nothing. Like, there's only so many pieces that are useful for this character. You know, there's like 40 pieces of gear in there. That'll burn really quickly and then all of a sudden it's over. Pluggy mod allows it. So I'm interested in thinking about some sort of, once I get better at the game, of course, some sort of PoE MVS stream, right? So MVS is basically man versus stream, and I play through the game, and whenever donation subs, things like that roll in, I have to like drop items. You're on Discord? Okay, I'll be there in a sec. I have to like drop items and stuff that I'm wearing, and or you know, crap like that. So that's 40 is not a lot at all. So I think it would be interesting to try and think about how that could branch into PoE. The problem is, like, if you're dropping items, you're dropping your gems. Maybe. I guess you could take your gems out, though. Assassin or Amazon will be the next MVS run. Maybe you take the gem out of the item, and then you drop the item. That could be something. That way you always get to keep your gems. Because, like, if you had to lose your skills, the game would be impossible. But I kind of like that idea, actually. Let chat pick main skills and ascendancies. See, that's the thing, though. Can that could also be a game winner. I have to play more PoE to really get an idea, but that's the first time I've had that idea, so I like that. All right, let's go talk to Noogie. Let's go talk to Noogie here. Heyo, what's up? Can you hear me?
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. Hello. How's it going?
I'm having a cup of tea and a bite to eat.
Nice. Having some crumpets.
Well, rye bread and mackerel salad.
Nice. Sounds solid. You have a good stream today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. A very good stream today.
Yeah? Find anything dope? You find a mirror yet?
No.
Oh, rip. Soon
haven't
though,
found
right?
one ever.
I know it's coming for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in 10 years I'll still. I don't think I'll
10
ever...
years? Wow.
Yeah, no.
What happens if I find a mirror tomorrow? Do you quit PoE? Is that?
Nah, that's just pure.
that's just the game, right?
You can't be angry at that. Yeah.
That's just the game. I feel ya. I feel ya. Ouch! I have no light res. That kind of sucks. All right. Okay, so you had some thoughts you wanted to go through. By the way, everybody, this is. How do you like to fully say your name? Give me the full rundown here.
Oh, okay. So the way you say, or the way I envisioned it to be said, is Nugian.
Nugian. Okay, and where did this
Nugian.
vision come from? Nugian.
Denmark. It came from Danes being unable to pronounce my real last name,
Which is
Wen.
Win. Right. So that's what I thought. I assumed it was Win, but then you had NUG, and so I was like, all right, I don't know what's going on here.
It's basically how people would try and pronounce it in Denmark, but couldn't, and so they pronounce it the way I'm spelling it
Right.
in my
Nugian.
nickname.
That is
Yeah.
that is exactly the first. Because I mean, I've had a few. I mean, you know, it's Asian, right? So I've had a few Asian friends with the last name of Win, and I think that's exactly the way I first pronounced the name was Nugian, and they were like, nah, nah, brah. And that was like mind blowing for me at the time, right? I was like, oh my gosh, but whatever. All right, so Nugi is your short, and okay, all right, very solid.
Yeah.
So I've got Nugian joining me, or Win. He is a PoE streamer. A lot of you guys know him. Some of you guys might not. But we just had a little coffee chat, right? We just had a little bit of a coffee chat there. Sat down, talked about some PoE, and versus Diablo 2 differences, you know, all sorts of things, all sorts of good stuff.
Kind of a coming together kind of thing.
Right, kind of a coming together, and I loved it. I mean, my goodness, that was like my favorite. That was like one of my favorite talks ever, because I love just sitting and talking game, right? Like, man, if we sit down every day for 10 hours a day and talk strategy and game and all that stuff, and that's like heaven on earth to me. What up, Fido?
Oh, jeez.
So I love that stuff, right? I love strategizing and all these things. So that's why also PoE is kind of a draw,
I'm the same.
right? PoE is kind of a draw because you look and there's so much stuff. But go ahead.
One of the things that really that I miss from kind of back in the day is the mumble talks we would have in PoE.
Yeah.
It's something that like Crip had him on his thing. I had my own mumble. Like there was like multiple mumbles, and people would always just come together and just talk PoE all day.
Right.
A lot of people still do. I don't as
Save
much
and
anymore
quit.
because I don't group as much anymore. So it just doesn't come as natural.
Right.
But no, that's the best part.
So did you guys used to group a lot? Was it like
Yes.
everybody was always running parties and stuff?
Yes.
Interesting. So that was all the streamers kind of partying up? Interesting.
Well, there were like we had like groups. Certain streamers had like their groups. I had mine. Crip had his.
Right.
Morse has had a group. And there are others
Right.
depending on region and everything.
Okay. See, that's what I was kind of thinking. I was kind of wondering if there was something like that. If you guys had like a just a Discord, like a PoE streamer Discord, where like PoE streamers could just always pop together and just talk crap, talk the shit while they're playing.
Well,
you know?
we don't really. I don't know. Like we talk together all the time.
Right.
Streamers amongst each other. We don't really have like a space where we all just come together and talk on voice at least.
Right.
It's mostly just in Twitch chats and so. And then
Yeah.
we like I don't know. Then we have like private mumbles and discords and stuff where we come together.
Right. Because yeah, I've always thought that'd be interesting, and I wonder what the thoughts of you and kind of the PoE community would be kind of in that regard. On just like whenever you guys are streaming, because you guys are always streaming, right? And if you guys just have a channel, whenever you're bored, you just pop in and see what the discussion of the day is, and kind of have it running while you're playing. So it's one of those things. I know that there's a difficulty in that. It's nice to be able to like talk with your chat a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so you wouldn't want to have like that interaction. So maybe like push to talk would just be required for that or something. So you're just in and out with that. But I don't know. I think it'd be interesting.
Sure. Like if people were into that kind of thing, I would join it all the time.
Yeah. I don't know. That's something I think I would be into.
But like mostly like especially early on during the whole 100 push that is going on every league.
Right.
People mostly have their own little channel set up.
Right.
And then that's kind of.
They just kind of do that.
Yeah.
So who really joins in? Like during the 100 push, are you pushing with a party though? Like of just like like viewers?
No,
and
I haven't done that in a long time.
Okay.
Not actively. Ever since I started having computer problems, I kind of stopped. Because it was getting to me so much. The fact that I was dying to blue screens and DCs and all that.
Right, right. Parties are kind of madness. I'm not gonna lie. From having what I've watched,
they've always been.
Parties are kind of absolutely
not as much,
insane.
but yeah, they are kind of madness, especially now. Now more than ever.
Right. Like as the clear speed meta continues further and further, parties just get more and more ridiculous.
It's really messy, and with all the trigger gems and stuff they've introduced, it's kind of fun. Do you know of the mod called Median?
Sorry, you cut out there. But
you must have heard of it.
Median XL, yeah, I've played Median before.
Oh, you played it? Okay.
Yeah.
So the creator of that had some conversations with the dev team from who was that guy? Do you remember his name? The creator of Median XL?
Oh no, I don't remember his name. I'm sure someone in chat knows. Who created Median XL, chat?
Something less.
Yeah, I'm not sure of his name. But he had a chat with who? With who?
With the devs of like in terms he helped them out with a unique design early on because there's some very interesting uniques in Median XL.
Oh, Brotherlass.
Brotherlass.
Yeah,
yes, Brotherlass.
Yeah.
Right. So and he kind of voiced some concerns with some of his design in the game with all the trigger gems or the cast on cast
right
kind of thing. And we're kind of entering that territory in PoE now with the trigger gems and casting on this and kind of what kind of issues that creates because everything just becomes one big like visual mess.
Right. It just floods the screen.
There's just so many things. There's so many projectiles and like sprites and all these kind of things.
Right.
And that's what we have right now. And so it makes partying really difficult.
Yeah. I think that's. Go ahead. Yeah.
Not go on.
Okay, I was just gonna say I think that's true. Like 100%. That is exactly what it feels like it's running into. It feels like it's running a little bit into Median XL style, right? Which is why I played Median XL for 2 weeks or so, and I did some speedruns of it. And I was playing through a little bit. And I couldn't keep going on it because it just became a visual mess. There was all that stuff where it was just flooding the screen, flooding it. Spells were moving too quickly. Everything was dying too fast. Spells were casting other spells, and it was just becoming too much stuff happening on the screen. And when you do that, you really get away from a really important part of the game. And I do believe that's very interesting to hear that Brother Laz kind of warned him of that, and that's kind of something that we're seeing as truth come to fruition now in that way of PoE because it's getting there. Everything is with things like your spell echoes, and then if this hits, then it spreads to every monster that
spell
it touches.
Spell echo is not really a problem though. Like doubling your spells. Spell echo actually has some very interesting mechanical things it can do for you. It can be a positive and a negative. So spell echo is just doubling your spells is not necessarily something that's bad.
The stuff that propagates out though is maybe the real kind of issues.
Well, sure, you get to cast more, but as long as it's still you casting, there's like an upper limit to how fast you can ever achieve a cast on the spell because the cast of the spells is locked within the base cast speed of the spell, so it can never get past a certain point.
Yeah.
But with all the cast and whatever, cast and crit and all these things, you bypass the cast speed of certain things, and that's where it becomes a problem.
Yep. And I think that's also true. I feel like it's also true a little bit in. Is there a there is a faster cast rate, like skill, whatever stuff, but it feels like there's not really much time in casting once you start to get to high levels. Like it feels like that kind of disappears as well, right? Like in Diablo 2, you have you have a few breakpoints and then it becomes like this exponential impossible. Like, all right, 105, the next one is 200, like you're never going to hit that.
Oh,
so
yeah,
like
105. Too much of an opportunity cost.
Right, exactly.
You would rather invest all these stats into something else because at that point it's not worth it anymore.
Right, it's not going to get you anywhere.
Extra brain point.
But like in PoE, I feel like that faster cast rate kind of pause disappears very quickly, and then you never have that like worry or the initial cast off is super fast. And it just gets really, really quick, really fast, as opposed to
I want to challenge the notion that echo is somehow makes that a thing, because you have to remember with echo you have to do it twice, and so you actually you're actually increasing the time that you are stationary by adding echo. So echo is not always in terms of getting out of. I don't think
echo's the worst thing. Yeah, I don't think echo's the worst thing because it, like you're saying, it adds that second cast in. And you're stuck in that spot for longer, so you're taking a risk by using it, and I like that. I like that does exist. So I don't know if it's the echo so much is the issue, as just it feels like that initial cast when I'm teleporting through or charging through, dashing through, and I stop, I can press Nova and cast Nova so quickly. Whereas the monsters can also hit me so quickly, and I think both things need to slow down. I think my cast needs to slow down, and I think the time the monster takes to wind up and actually swing and hit me also needs to slow down. I think both of those things do. So then there's I mean that's what I see in Diablo 2, right? In Diablo 2,
I think Diablo 2 is a little too slow maybe at times.
That's fair. And I'm coming from a slow, I'm coming from a Diablo 2 player perspective, so I'm going to kind of have that a little more, and maybe I'm used to being slower, and if it speeds up some, I think there's a middle ground for sure.
Did you play PoE in its early stages? Around release?
I played right at release for like 2 days. I could not tell you about speeds and things much because I was in Act 1 running around with a Marauder, and I was like, this game's okay, but it's kind of, I'm getting desynced and stuff and whatever, so I just kind of let it go.
So at that point, it was much closer to D2 and much further from D3. Kind of left the D2 speed a little bit and gone closer to the D3. Actually, I think it's surpassed D3 in terms of speed that you can achieve, because there isn't any kind of barrier you have to overcome. There isn't. I know there's always cooldowns in D3 that people like to move really fast, kind of.
Right.
There's some I don't know, there's some ways you can move really fast, but you can't even get close to PoE at this point.
Yeah. So that's I don't know old PoE too much, but I definitely do think it's from the small progressions I've kind of seen in it. It is making its way over towards D3, and I just hope it stays away, I hope
I've raised concerns about this ever since they start. I've raised concerns on a lot of these things.
Yeah.
That if it's not checked and controlled and properly balanced, it gets to this point very quickly.
Right. Yeah, it's very easy to all of a sudden you have a cast on crit and a multi-crit and a cast on this, and then all of a sudden the screen is flooded and your characters are flying through and everything is insane, and you're like, whoa, what happened?
I'll say this though, I think one of the bigger issues is that there's the opportunity cost for this is too low. Right, so you talked about hitting breakpoints in if you wanna, there's kind of a diminishing return, and let's say you wanna have another 10% increase in your cast speed, and to do that you have to hit the next breakpoint. I'm not sure exactly if you're getting more or less than that.
Yeah. So so there's just that, exactly like that, right? So the first first breakpoint for faster cast rate is going to be like 10, and then 18, and then 27, and then whatever it is, then 25, 37, then it's 63, then it's 105, then it's 200. Like it gets exponentially further and further apart.
Yeah, so there are diminishing returns on it, basically.
Yes, exactly.
On all these mechanics, and I believe it's pretty much on every mechanic. There's like a diminishing return. So you get a very balanced mix of stats because you never want to invest too much.
Right.
In PoE, it's kind of in PoE they've been adding a lot of multipliers, and now with the insanity gloves, for instance, is another multiplier for cast speed and attack speed. And so they keep adding in these multiplier functions where it's like you can exceed the cap that we had before.
Right.
And so I think that's really the problem.
And that's the danger that's exactly Diablo 3. Diablo 3 is a multiplier game, and I think multipliers are kind of the death of the ARPG in a way.
No, I agree.
That is where you run into issues. If you let ceilings go and you no longer have these caps and you no longer have this, and it no longer becomes a balancing, okay, I've now reached this point where it's no longer worth it to invest in this. And instead it becomes, I've reached this point where the more I invest in it, the more multiplicatively better I can get with this.
Yes.
That's where the issues lie. I think multipliers are what must go. Like that's kind of the ultimate pain point. So
because not only is it it makes them lose control in terms of balance.
Right, exactly. How do you balance?
There comes a point where it's like if something gets another multiplier and others don't, well then something will be 50% stronger because it has that multiplier than the other.
Right. This is literally Diablo 3. Dude, this map's terrible. This is literally Diablo 3. So D3. I had a pair of booties that did, and that was weird. I had a pair of booties, and when I, didn't wear them, I did 200 million damage or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then I put the pair of boots on, and I did 800 million damage. And the fact that one little item like that, because I was running a specific build, quadrupled my damage, how do you balance around that? You can't. What even is that? And that's why Diablo 3 has this weird Greater Rift just continually pushing system where the monsters have 500 trillion HP.
Because now you have to, if the damage scaling and the character progression scales exponentially, well then your monsters have to do the same.
Right.
And you can't have a normal progression system like that.
Right. And then all of a sudden every build becomes worthless unless it can have that multiplier like that. Yeah. And so only cookie cutter specific builds that are meant to, quadruple your damage like this will ever get you anywhere. Otherwise, you're always going to be stuck doing the same level of Greater Rift or whatever it is, because that's just how it's going to be. That's the only way it can be when you have multiplicative damages. It ruined so many builds and stuff.
I'll say though, in terms of player engagement, it takes a lot to get to the very end game. But in PoE, it takes a long time to get where you fully have achieved everything put together.
True.
And so I would say in terms of having a successful ARPG that can actually capture the very the player and the youth of today, where it's very what do you call it?
I want it now. Is that the youth of today?
Well, it's always there has to be something new.
Right.
That's going on, and I always want to have this increase in power. I always, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So it's easier.
Damn kids.
To entice that kind of player, as long if there's always something that really makes your character grow.
Right. Yeah.
So I can see it from their point, but I do think that at some point they also have to think about the overall balance of the game, so it will remain interesting. I think especially with boss design though. Boss design is something that really takes a toll on the whole multiplier system.
Right.
Because to me at least, it feels like you end up negating your own, or you end up trivializing your own content very quickly if every time you put on new content, you have to exponentially increase player damage.
Right.
Because that also means that the boss you had to fight before is now 50%, or you kill it 50% faster, and that's a lot.
Yeah. Oh my god, freaking fourth place. Yeah, I think. I mean, you have some good points there. I think something that sorry, I'm like so stuffed up. I think something that really kind of stands out to me in terms of thanks for the $3 sideshow. I think something that really stands out to me, oh baby, nice, in terms of that stuff and the ever-growing power is, even with all of that,
you took all my dollars. He's all my dollars now.
I'm sorry. You still can't have the multiplicative like nature of it. Like that's still such a big issue in my mind, right? Like people want to get stronger. You want to make the game continue on. Great, make the game continue on, just like it continues on right now in my mind, right? Like this game progressively gets harder from Act 1 all the way to Act 4. Okay, now you're at Act 4. Why does it suddenly have to be this multiplicative, like crazy damage? Just make it like a little bit harder, almost, right? Like, is that not a thing to just make it a little bit harder, where it just continues in that same sort of progression like it has right now? I don't know. I feel like the answer doesn't have to be now all of a sudden you have to do 500 billion damage just to, you know.
Well, you don't really do that in PoE though.
I mean, it's not. It's D3, right? You know, in PoE it's
okay.
It's not quite like that, but you know, like they can just keep increasing the difficulty a little more, where you just have to get a few more items. Like I love the mapping, you know, all the way to the Atlas to kill Shaper and stuff like that. Like that's like a really cool like next difficulty sort of thing. But
yes,
I feel like you can just keep going up with it, with more and more kind of like, you know, newer creatures.
I think they recognize that. What? No.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think they do recognize it. Speaking of the defense of them, though,
right.
'cause they want to add new and interesting stuff all the time.
Right.
But one thing that has been a main issue for them for a long time has been double dipping, mechanics, being damage here, being fire damage, and it also applies to poison.
Yeah,
the poison was introduced much later.
Right.
It was redone into a something. In the same that worked similarly to ignite and fire damage, so it became the same thing essentially. But it has this what is it, like quadratic increase or whatever, because it's like the squared or whatever, because it multiplies on its own. I don't know what you call it, but they have recognized that, and they have recognized that being a problem, because what it does, it means that all the content, if they use these mechanics, is trivialized, and they have to, because they have to balance it around. The majority of the skills have to be viable in an end, like in the end, right? And so, well, if you can't have, let's say a new player picks up a poison build and he doesn't go out to the extreme.
Right.
Well, he has to be able to do the same content. If he's just doing, like, if he's approaching that build as he would any other build, well, it has to work.
Right.
Like, it has to actually function, and he has to be able to kill things.
Right.
But once you cross over a threshold and you keep stacking that, well, then that becomes a problem, because it just keeps multiplying. And everything else that doesn't follow these mechanics, well, they also have to be able to kill the same content. And then you have to allow the one thing that just kills everything fast to just become stupid powerful.
Right.
Because otherwise everything else is too bad.
Right.
So I recognize this, so that changes in 3.0.
So that's something that, like when I picked up this game, I came in and I picked up Glacial Cascade, and I started running this weird Glacial Cascade Witch of my own build that I never looked at any build charts. I never did, anything like that. I just took some advice from chat, which, probably ended up worse than better. But just kidding, chat. But I never did anything like that. And I was able to get through the game and kill Malachi. And yeah, you know what? I died to Merciless Malachi 20 times. and my life totals 3k with 1,000 mana with MOM, right? It's not a great build. It's not a wonderful setup or anything like that. But I was able to struggle through the game, and it worked exactly, and it was fun, and I had a good time with it, and that was a fourth way. And what else, guys? What else? And so I thought that was one of the best things that I had seen, kind of, was that my build wasn't going to smoke this game, but it was able to manage through it. Yeah, with a few deaths. Oh my god, I ran the wrong way. I haven't played D2 in a bit, huh? But, yeah, it wasn't going to be the greatest build in the world, but it was going to work. It was going to get me there, and I think there's something to be kind of said for that in a way, right? Like, I think that was done well, but
I think they really have the initial progression that they have right now with everything is really well balanced.
Right.
Most builds will have this experience.
Right.
Even if you're trying to make a poison build, right, which is the most broken mechanic right now.
Yep.
Well, if you pick up the game and you use it, this is how it's going to feel throughout the initial progression of the game. It's only when you get to the point where you really start, quote unquote, exploiting the mechanics, right? Where you push them over what they're meant to do, kind of. And that's when you get in this territory.
And that's where you need these ceilings, essentially. That's where you need to make it where pushing it no longer becomes viable, because it's just, all right, you want to invest everything you have just to get a tiny bit more faster cast rate? Good luck, enjoy it. Like, you want to push this.
With AoE, have you seen that?
Yeah, so AoE's got diminishing returns now, right?
Yes.
Which is wonderful. That's how it needs to be.
Well, it doesn't actually have. Well,
I thought it did.
Well, okay. Not in terms of. It has a linear progression in area covered, total area covered. It had exponential progression, or I don't know the correct term here, but because it was scaling, before it had linear progression on the radius.
Right.
So that had the what do you call it, like the squared progression on the area or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so now they changed it, so it has linear progression on the area.
On the area instead. Okay, so your area. See, and that's good, because that's going to shorten up that radius a ton as you're moving through, and you're not just going to continue with these. Eventually, your radius is beyond the screen. That's how it needs to be in all, I think, and in kind of every skill, everything that can be exploited like that needs that sort of nerf, where it's like, all right, great, you get a little AoE, and now your AoE's increased, and that's all you're going to do. You're not going to increase it anymore, because it's just not going to be worth it anymore, right? That needs to happen, and that's what I think is a big stopper of all of those things.
Like, people don't stack cast speed for that particular reason. We have other ways of scaling after that point.
Right.
I don't know if necessarily we need to take all of it away, or I think some of the multipliers could be lowered quite a bit. So there is less importance to stack multipliers, and maybe go more of an stacking interesting mechanics, like using fork, for instance. Or, like, not to say that you have to use fork, because fork is kind of bad, and it's not like you have to be forced to use that, but I would rather have it so that if you could change up the way your skill worked a bit, rather than just stacking more damage, that would be more interesting.
Yeah.
Because PoE is a lot about how you link your skill.
Right. And I think that's really cool. I love the whole linking process. That's very unique to it. But there needs to just but when you add in these caps, and you add, you can nullify the multiplicative nature of the linking, as opposed to, oh, now this link is suddenly a billion times better because of X, right? Whatever.
I don't necessarily think you need to have caps on everything. I do agree with the multipliers needs to go. As long as there's just linear progression on things.
Linear progression. I mean, I think that's your cap in a way, right? Don't have an exponential.
Yeah.
Don't have an exponential increase. Something like that. Thanks, Click Jump.
They have done more things though, in terms, like, they've done a lot, because there's been a lot of outliers. The thing you cast and crit, they put an internal cooldown on that. That wasn't initially. Cast and damage taken was really broken as well.
There was no wait. There was nothing there, like no cooldown on it.
No.
Oh my god.
I'll find a video and you can see how it looks.
I can just imagine that being the most ridiculous thing in the world. Yeah, that seems a little messed up. Yeah, so I'm running PoE for everybody who's chilling here. I'm running Pluggy right now because I think it's because that's part of this run. It's a Pluggy barb run, so I'm basically using dope items along the way and then kind of seeing how it goes. Just like a fun little thing. Artificial caps are boring. Well, it doesn't have to be a cap once again, but the progression needs to be non-exponential.
Yes. Not about actually providing a cap on something. It's about not allowing it to like feed on itself.
Right. Don't let it feed into this crazy scale of madness where, you know, it just becomes, you know, it's Diablo 3 looking almost.
I'll say though, there is something to be said about being able to feel like you're breaking the game. It's something that PoE really has thrived upon.
It just, I feel like there's like breaking the game, and then there's like straight up hacking the game, and it looks too much like a giant game hack, you know. Like when you play Diablo 2 single player and you hero edit in those items that allow you to run crazy fast, and you have 10 auras on and you're moving around like a madman and everything's blowing up next to you, and you're like, yeah, this is so fun. And then after like 10 minutes you're like, okay, well, you know, that was kind of fun. I'm gonna go do something else because I've like broken the game. That's kind of the feel that the characters, it looks like they start to move towards. They start to move towards this like hacked character that is no longer just a character that's chilling playing the game, like whatever, but is now like this madman who can just move around and be absolute craziness, you know, and do whatever he wants.
Yeah, it does take a long time to get there though. Like for the average player, this takes a lot of commitment to a character before you reach that threshold.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess for me, just being a speedrunners person, like I think that's the better part of the game personally. And I know a lot of people don't think that, but I think you know, that's the better part of the game in my mind, is the part getting there where you have to focus on being skilled and you have to do a lot of blah blah, you know, and it's not just running around with a hacked character blowing everything up. You know?
I enjoy that part as well, the most.
But there's people who love that. There's people who hang out on.
I always play devil's advocate for myself.
Yeah.
Whenever I say, "Oh, I want this and this,"
right.
You have to remember like who you're taking something away from.
Right.
At the same time.
Right. I know, and that would be taking away from people who love the hack characters. You know, because there are definitely people
also the players who don't have much time to invest will never get, who will just always be struggling, right? Never getting to that moment of joy where they feel like they have achieved something.
See, but the struggle is the joy, because then I don't think you should. I feel like the more you struggle, through the game, the more joy you get when you accomplish things, right? I was so much more happy killing Malachi with 20 deaths and, you know, whatever, struggling my way through to kill him, than if I just walked in and he fell over and died. You know, like, because it was such a harder fight, it was so much more fun.
But and I'll tell you, like, okay, so PoE in its early days, in the early days, it was intended to kill people in mud flats. Do you know what mud flats is?
Yeah, it's the start of the game.
Yes, the roars would literally one-shot you.
See, I don't like that. I don't like the one shot from like right there. Like,
they would do like, if you got hit by one, you get stunned. The second one would kill you.
Right.
That was how I know it continued being that difficult throughout the game.
Right.
That's a little bit much.
That is. See, there's definitely a balance there. There's definitely a balance. I think that is not it. I don't think you want to get to the point of dying in the first stage of the game and then it being ridiculous like that from there on out. But I think as it progresses, you know, adding in that crazy difficulty is, you know, super useful.
I do think you get that. I think they have. I think they have a really good balance. I think they have some outliers that need to be honed in, especially movement. I think movement is the worst one right now.
Movement
and
is
cast
a
and
big
crit.
one. Yeah.
And they need to stop making these. I feel like they have been way too. I don't know. Some of their item design lately have been. They've tried to cater to their to like community wishes rather than what's healthy for the game. Right, so it's like the groups, oh, we want this flashy thing, right? And it's like,
right.
Oh, sure, we'll give you that flashy thing,
right?
Without really recognizing how it's gonna affect every other build that doesn't play this one flashy thing.
Yep.
So we had something called Cosprey's Malice, which is a sword that basically works like it's every time you crit, whatever is in the sword will cast.
Okay.
And so you link 3 cold skills, whatever cold skill was in the sword would cast. So you would run around just shield charging. With crit on it. So whatever your shield charge or crit, which is a movement skill, it would then cast your socketed gem. And so you're just shield charge into anything, and it would then use the most powerful skill, which is discharge, and you would have full charges because of a neck called Ball's Devotion. So there's this whole like feedback loop on like generating power charges, which in itself is cool. But then when you take it to the extreme and you add it to the movement skill, it just becomes too much.
Yep. I think you're 100% right in that movement skills are broken and messed up. Oh my gosh, streamer RNG today, man, it's just crazy. I think you're 100% right in calling out movement skills there, because I think I agree. That's one of the most broken parts of the game that I feel like I'm seeing right now when I'm watching, other people's streams, or if I'm seeing other players move or whatever. People move so freaking fast, and then they also kill everything while they're moving so fast. Like, everything is still blowing up, You watch the Valspark, you watch the, like, shield charge around, and it's like, that is broken. That needs to be completely fixed, and I think that's the first step that does huge stuff right there for the game. I think you slow down players. You make movement skills not casting, right? So you're not casting skills while you're moving. You're either making a movement skill or making a cast.
So I want to challenge it a little bit though, because I think the fact that you can make a character where you're using your movement skill that can cast is important to PoE, right? You can make anything do anything. That's kind of the core concept of PoE, that you have all these options. I don't think that it should ever be as casting a skill of a movement skill should never be more powerful than self-casting.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think, okay, maybe if you want to add it, make it where it has something, but don't make it faster or better than, or more powerful than a, stand cast. I don't know. But I mean, I just think to my, D2 experience with it, and if I could teleport as a sorceress and kill things while I was teleporting, game would be broke.
No, I know.
Game would be
seems a little
game would be so boring. Like that would completely ruin the game. You would have to run that character because it would be the best character. Like, all right, if you want to be the best character and farm most efficiently, you're gonna run it. But then it's just why am I playing any? I'm not even stopping to interact. I'm just teleporting through everywhere, and everything dies, and that's the game. So, that's kind of how I think about it and relate it and all of that stuff. Like, if I had to have that and see that, happen, if that happened to D2, I think that would really hurt the game, in my mind. There's not a single character that moves. There's not a single character that moves and also really deals damage. You can even look at maybe like a charged in for, or whatever. But he's going to stop and hit something, and there's like this long delay when he does, right? It's not like you just keep moving really easily and cast all this stuff.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't played much with the with like movement killing stuff in PoE, so I don't know that as well. That's kind of why I have you here for the export. So as the expert. So feel free to like challenge all of my notions and be like, no, Mr. Llama, you're just being stupid right now. You don't understand it. that's fine, because I don't understand a lot of things. You know, I'm just using my my thoughts of when I'm watching players and stuff. How have I seen, you know, you
No,
move
I
around
can't
and stuff.
personally watch streams anymore. I can't watch streams that are like end game streams where it's like XP progression,
Right?
Where you're just blowing up the entire screen. I can't watch that.
I can't.
It's so boring.
It's so tough to watch.
It gives me nothing.
Right. It's really tough to watch those. Because it really does. It's just, you know, everything just blows up. The whole screen's just constantly on fire, and that's it. I don't know.
One of the things though, like the way to combat that,
right?
In my opinion, would be you have to kind of cultivate a meta shift where the player feels like they want to go in a different direction, where they want to slow down. Obviously.
Right.
I do think the movement skills needs to be looked at. I think that they are, but movement skills weren't like this all the time. Once they fixed desync, the whole game just opened up, and they've added like insanity gloves and stuff like that. They're like more multipliers and attack speed. Like there's some things that are kind of problematic right now, where you can you can move at like 500 movement speed with a shield charge. Kind of silly. So I definitely think that something needs to change there. They did already nerf the attack speed on like whirling blades, and they could do a little bit more. They don't. The problem is you don't want to make it unusable by like the intended use of it can't be broken.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to say. Because if you just keep nerfing the skill because there's an outlier that kind of puts you over the edge. Well, then you end up making it unusable in its intended case.
Right.
And then that serves no purpose. So now these like melee builds that doesn't really have a lot of attacks, we can't use them anymore.
Right.
Because now they would move even slower. So it's kind of a hard balance on that one. I think that personally, I think they should add some new mechanic so that you have to actually do something with the skill. Something has to happen. Say you have to hit a monster.
Yep.
To reset the charge or something. Make it interesting. Make it so that
you have to interact with
spamming the skill has to interact with the with the game.
Right.
Or something like that.
I agree and disagree. I think, and I'll once again take it back to Diablo 2. Let's say that there is something new, and Sorceress now, whenever she casts teleport, it will cast, you know, a chosen spell or something like that, right? And so now every time that I cast teleport, it also casts a blizzard right on top of me. As a sorceress, I no longer need to cast blizzard now. I can always just have, you know, just teleport around, and then everything will blow up and die, and that'll be the game, right? This now becomes the most optimal way for me to farm this game and to get rich, right? If I run any other sorceress build that is not moving at this crazy insane fast speed, I'm going to farm and get rich in the game and, you know, find items and whatever it is less often than I am if that doesn't exist. And I think that's just the nature of it, right? And that's kind of how it should be. As a player, you want to always find the fastest, best way that you can beat the game, essentially, right? How can I be the best player of this game? And you know, get rich the fastest and have the most stuff, because you know, that's what you want to do. You want to be competitive against other people and all this stuff. Yeah. So while that option exists, I am always going to play that option, even if that option is not as fun for me, because that option is the one that gets me there. And I think that is where you run into problems with it.
So if you make it so that skills that do not have this mobility and like auto casting, if they become the de facto farming, like the best way of playing, well then people will then gravitate towards them. But you will still have the option of playing this other style. Like it's not about killing that style of play. It's about I do think it needs to be toned back so it can't do what it's doing right now as efficiently. But then you make sure that there's some, like, you have something else that can do it. So that becomes better.
So I
think better by comparison.
But like the way I look at it there, the fix to the game at that point is not adding something in that is better and faster than the sorceress I think the fix is
No.
removing
Okay,
that
that's not
option.
what I
And
meant. I
you
didn't
know,
mean this. What you want? You want to have it so that you can like running around self-casting, having to actually put yourself in more danger is better. And then you have to nerf some of the new moon skills. I think they do have to nerf some of the moon skills.
Yes.
I think they need to do it gradually, otherwise they're gonna alienate too many players at one time.
Right.
And they did this before. Cast on crits, what I was talking about, that had no cap.
Yeah.
They put a cap on it. They lost a lot of players because that was their go-to, and now they lost their go-to.
Right. But, you know, send him over to D3. I don't care. No, I know. It's tough because for me, I'm like, I just want a better game, but...
But you have to be able to appreciate that they're a company and they have a bottom line.
Right. And that's...
For them to grow and for them to keep improving in the way we want them to, well, it has to be measured. It has to be measured what they do.
Right. And there's definitely, you know, that's definitely a thought. Like, that's definitely something that you have to consider, you know, when you move throughout the game, and that's something that I have to definitely learn to appreciate and stuff. You know, they are a company, and that might hit their bottom line, but but does it, if they don't take care of that now, does it turn it into a Diablo 3 graveyard? Right? People have left.
They didn't. No. Okay. First, no. Because if you look at the progression of the game, it's gone the opposite direction, where they didn't take care of burn. Like burn has existed since the release, basically. One of the more famous builds that were around was the Crypt's Burning Discharger, which was basically you self-cast a discharge for huge fire damage, and you got the burn, and you could double dip. And so this was one of the more popular builds. And since then, like burn has, since forever, has been this one mechanic that's always been broken. Flame blast as well. That's why you're seeing so many flame blasters. One big hit with fire damage, it does the ignite, it does a huge amount of damage because you double dip on it, the damage and stuff like that. And this has existed since forever. And having that mechanic and not having dealt with it for so long has not really been a detriment to the growth of the game at all. So it's not like they have to do this quick. The fact that you can move so fast, I don't think is going to put it into the D3 graveyard. I do think that if they keep pushing the speed, if you keep going faster and faster and faster, I don't know, maybe they grow, but they also, I don't know, I think they start losing some of the identity of the game, which would be sad. So at that point, it kind of depends, well, what do they want with the game? And do they just want to cash out, or do they actually want to... That's the real thing, right?
It's a real
How
question.
do they want their game to be?
Diablo 3 made
And I think it's important whenever we address them and we debate these things, because they listen and they read Reddit and such. If we just throw, like, if we're just saying, well, you should do this and that, and how dare you do this, and no multipliers and all these kind of things, without taking into account what they have to kind of how they have to balance and how they're affected at the same time. Well, then we just come across as unempathetic and not really having any clue about the game, and so why should they listen?
For sure. No, I think there's definitely a, you know, respect to be given there, and you know, and I would love to hear more about their thoughts, and you know, kind of what direction they want taken and stuff. I mean, I will say Diablo 3 was one of like the most profitable games to exist. If you look at like earnings of like games that have sold, look up like top X, dude, where is this map? Look up like top X, you know, like sales of games and like profits. Diablo 3 is on that list. Blizzard made bank on that game. And if you look at it right now, it's pretty dead, you know, like not a lot of people play it, and you know, it's kind of whatever, like, you know, there's all this whatever, but it made a lot of money, right? You know, if they kind of want to go down that route, like, more power to them. I think they totally could. And there's, you know, definitely some things that they could do to the game to kind of get those gains, but I think it does hurt the identity of the game, and I think it does hurt the ability for that game to be this long-term, you know, like for the next 10, 15 years, this is the greatest ARPG ever, right? I don't know if that exists, you know, going down that route. Or if, you know, what does it look like? Why am I grabbing gold? What does it look like if people do tank the, or, you know, if they do kind of nerf these things and stuff and adjust the damage? What does that actually look like? I don't know. How many people leave? How many people, you know, come back and stick around more often? And
they have a better player retention though. But what you see in terms of their design and what I see in their design is the problems that they're facing now is that if they allow these kind of things to persist in the game, well then continuing their game design and boss design becomes impossible.
Right.
Because if you want to give anything else to the players in terms of like increasing their power, well then the players who are using these mechanics get an even bigger increase in power.
Right.
And so you will always have these like outlier builds that just trivialize content, and the only way to balance around that becomes immunities and stuff like that. And you don't want to, like, that's something players hate.
Right.
Right, because now the only way to balance is to remove my damage. Wait,
Yep.
what?
Yep.
And that's what they've done. They have added immunities to all the guardians, to burn.
Oh, really?
And to bleed. Yes, they've been forced to. It's the only way, because otherwise these builds just trivialize all the content.
Right.
They haven't done it to Shaper though, because they want all players to be able to experience Shaper.
Right.
And so the problem there is that you see all the poison builds literally kill Shaper in like seconds.
Well, that's kind of.
This is why they recognize they have to change it, because otherwise they will always have these builds trivializing their content.
Right.
And it's a problem because the perception becomes, well, the game is too easy, or like, oh, I have to do this. Either you have to play these builds, or there's the other, like, the game is just too easy. Like, it's not even a hardcore game anymore. You don't want to have that.
Right.
Or at least they don't. They want their game to be hardcore.
Right.
They sell themselves on that.
Right. That's what I think is the best part of the game. That's what I love, is that, and that's my favorite thing in a game like this, is making it really hard, really hardcore, where like that Shaper build's not this easy walk in the park, kill it in a couple seconds. You want to fight that Shaper, you're gonna have to work your butt off and dodge all the orbs and all the pools, and you're gonna be freaking like killing yourself trying to get there, and it, you know, make it hard, and that's definitely a concern that they have to watch and be careful of. You know, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Is this the right way, or is it over that way?
So, like, moving forward, I think you should be like, a lot of the things that you raise concerns with is something that they also see.
Right.
So if you're worried about them not seeing these same issues, well, they do. It's just they can't just
fix it, right?
do a
Like,
complete
boom,
overhaul
done.
at this point.
Yeah. I recognize that. Like, I definitely don't think that, you know, I recognize that I still suck at the game, that I haven't even gotten to Shaper. I don't even know what a Shaper fight looks like. I couldn't tell you the broken mechanics of poison. You know, there are so many things that I haven't seen with this game. But I have watched streams, and I have seen my own, you know, character progress through the game. And that's where a lot of my concerns maybe, you know, begin, or whatever, is.
I'll give you a little fun story here. So I talked to I've never had a good computer, and so one of the things I always struggled with was FPS.
Right.
And I asked Chris whether or not it was okay to run because in the game files or whatever, there's like I don't remember the name of it. There's like an ini file or something, or like some config file where you can change the texture quality, and you can lower it further than you can in game.
Right. I saw somebody talk about that.
Yes, whether or not that was allowed. And then Chris said, well, it is, you can do that, that's okay, but we would much rather you didn't, because we would much rather have people look at our game and think that it is like, we would, right? He would really like the aesthetics of the game, to be there and for people to enjoy. Yeah, to be the selling point, exactly. I think it's kind of funny though that now the only thing you see in streams, because he was specifically talking about how he would rather not have streams using this because it would reflect poorly on the game.
Right.
But now you have all these fucking spells. You can't even see what's going on.
You can't even see the you can't even see the game. Everything is just blowing up nonstop, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, the boss
people can't play in parties. And if they're playing in parties, you have like 0 FPS, and you see the games like you see everyone running around with like no FPS. I just can't see how this is any better.
Right. That was a like huge eye-opening thing for me because I love. Well, I mean, one of the greatest parts of Diablo 2 when I was getting into it, in the past and everything like that. Now I kind of run more solo, but like one of the greatest things of Diablo 2 was when you would sit down with your best friend, right? And you and 3 other people or whatever would sit down and would party up and would run through this game, and it was like super fun and super awesome, and and you were all casting your spells, and it was just like the best time ever. And that was like the best thing ever, right? The game was like awesome because of that.
No, it was my favorite part of playing D2 as well.
Right. So many people's favorite part of playing D2. And then I went over. Oh yeah, let me weapon swap. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. I went through the game, and I was now at a point where it was like time to level up. And so I asked some people were like, hey, do a dried lake run with the party. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll do a dried lake run with the party. That was like the worst experience of my PoE life, because I was just like, this ain't fun. Everything literally just died in a second. Everybody zoomed off where I couldn't even see them in a second, and the whole map and like everything was done in I think like 15 seconds. The entire like map was cleared, and the FPS was nuts, and everything was blowing up, and it was like, what is going on? Like it was terrible, and I was like, this isn't fun. I'm gonna go back to. I was like, thanks for playing, guys. I'm gonna go back to doing my own thing, I guess, because this is not working very well. And like,
it's the main reason why I don't party.
Right.
That right there.
Right.
It is the reason why I don't go into parties anymore. The disparity between some builds is too great. Because you're made feel like as if you're just useless.
Oh, I was 100% useless. I did nothing. I couldn't even catch up. I couldn't even catch up to them. They all moved so fast because they could all run. I had freaking flame dash too and stuff, and I'm like trying to flame dash over to them, and I'm like, nope, just gone. It was just like a dude like leaping around at like freaking 100 leaps a second, and another person shield charging, and everybody had a movement skill that was going absolutely insane, and casting everything, and it was all blowing up, and it was just like, okay. I don't know what's happening here, like I'm just gonna go back to playing by myself, I guess. So that was really disappointing because I think partying is like one of the best things in this game, or in ARPGs, partying up and really struggling together through a game. I think that's one of the like most fun parts. So it was kind of sad to not be able to do that. And I think that's something that
I feel the same. I feel the same. It's really like I miss that. I miss doing bail runs.
Right.
Whereas like, well, it takes this amount of time. It doesn't matter. Like, someone can teleport, right? So we have one guy teleporting, and that's fine. But everyone chimes in on the actual killing.
Right.
All the time.
Right. You're all standing there. You're all killing. I mean, there's even at end game, you're still like contributing. I am a noob, I know. She loved the tendies big. She loved them. Yeah. So that was my kind of like, that was definitely a sadness of mine, was that partying.
I wish they could bring that back.
Isn't the
like
thing
that
right
they
now.
could get that they could really improve upon that, but it's really difficult at this point because how do you combat all these like effects coming together as well?
You have to nerf all of it and drop it down.
Yeah.
That's and that's kind of what I've been talking about in a way, right? Is the way you get that back is by bringing this stuff down some, right? Making it so that you're
I think that's true. I think that is one of the only ways to do that, because otherwise you're gonna have these huge gaps in player power, like immense gaps. And as long as you have those, partying is just gonna kind of suck.
Yep. Yep. I mean, it's just always, you're never gonna have good partying with that. So, I don't know. That's my thoughts on that bit. That was sad. That was sad. But we'll see. I'm still very like hopeful though, and everything, because you know, like you've said. I mean, you've talked with them, and you know, everybody's chatted with them. They are aware of all of this.
Well, they're not
They're not.
They
They're not
communicate
stupid,
through
you know?
Posts and Reddit and,
right.
some announcements. We don't really have, honestly, like you said, that we don't really have like there's a few people who get to talk to them, but we don't really have the at least the I don't feel like we have like the veterans of PoE having like a real conversation with them. They have their own internal Q&A, and like they're very set on what they want.
Right.
I wish they were more open to talk on some of these issues.
Okay. Hear that, GGG? Let's set it up. Let's set it up. They're gonna be like, "Why are you involved, Lami? You know nothing about this game." Like, yeah, I know. I'm here to facilitate the conversations. but no. That's interesting, dear. Okay, I didn't know what sorts of communications you guys.
They are very open. Like, I'm gonna be. Obviously, they are, but they do have their own vision and their own way of doing things.
Right.
We don't have too much. Like, obviously, the community. I think more of what changes things is more outrage on Reddit than anything, which is kind of sad. Like, the more bad publicity they get, the quicker they are to fix it.
Right.
Which is. I don't think that's very healthy, but it's kind of how it goes.
I mean, that's, you know, like you're saying though, like if you're gonna run a game and you want, to have like success, and you know, what's the best way to keep the most of them happy, right? If a majority of people are complaining about something, you know, maybe you know, making that change faster isn't terrible for that, but. Does it kind of, you know?
Not. No.
But is there a point where you lose the sense of your own game? In a way.
Well, like to me, it more seems like they're more focused on the short-term problems rather than the long-term ones. And the conversations always like they tend to gravitate more towards the short-term problems rather than the ones that would kind of if you address more the long-term things. Obviously they are, but they're kind of doing it on their own. It's not really what the conversation goes on. Then all these short-term problems wouldn't even exist.
Right. Like the problems only exist because you keep patching these little short-term things, and then it creates another short-term problem that you have to fix instead of just addressing the overall. Yeah. I think that's a good point. I think that's a fair point there, and. Yeah, I mean, and that's why I look at it, and I look at it in terms of long-term fixes. You know, okay, you can make these short-term adjustments, and you can do these things, and maybe that makes a few people happy for this limited amount of time. But then what? You know, what is this? What problem does this then create later? You know, oh well, now it just keeps shifting towards Diablo 3, right? Like. Or whatever it is, you know. I feel like that's a similar.
I would really hesitate. Like you've said it a few times now, like it's shifting towards D3. I don't.
In terms of like massive screen explosions, is what I mean. I don't mean shifting towards Diablo 3 in every regard. I mean in terms of massive screen explosions.
But I feel like that's, to me at least, that's maybe like 20% of the game. Like the whole leveling up process, and it might be the more time-consuming one, like just like running through, blowing up everything.
Right.
But to me, that's not really what takes the time. It's not what takes my effort. What takes effort from me and what I invest my energy into is like creating builds and the strategy and making sure that I like set up my what's it called? My atlas right.
Yep.
All the trading. All the craft. There's so many other things. Then you have this one part which is just blowing up the screen.
Right.
And it's really one of the smaller parts if you take everything into consideration.
And that's why I think I still really enjoy the game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because if that was just the game, all right, well, now I really don't care at all. But, you know, but I do feel like there's, you know, the whole atlas and everything like that. And I feel like there are parts of it that aren't that, you know? And I'm really enjoying that. And that's also why I'm focusing more on, like, speedrunning and stuff like that, because I get to continually play through the part of the game that I find best, which is when it's really challenging and you have a lot of, like, monster interaction, right? You know, when you're doing, like, speedruns and level, you know, quick level up early through the game stuff, there's not a lot of just, like, that cheap, you know, screen is going and you randomly die or randomly blow everything up. Those interactions kind of don't exist down there, but rather, you know, you feel more in control and like your actions kind of more mean something there and whatever. So that's why I like speedrunning, right? Because I feel like it provides that, whereas endgame stuff, at least as of, you know, what I've felt, feels a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So,
check.
Yeah, you're good. Oh, slowed. Okay, fast stay and run. Oh, we're going much faster. Maybe. Maybe, yes, Roy. I mean, I haven't made... Right now, my item adjustments aren't too big. I think that's a big thing to note. Like, in the early stages of the game, there's not a ton that honestly really helps the Barbarian out. You know, I've got my Angelic stuff on to make it so I hit things faster, and I've got my Crushing Blow, but it's just, you know, overall, I don't know. I don't know. We're moving okay, you know. It's not terrible speed. Removing the double dip. That is an interesting thought. Rip. Oh, rip helmet too. Everything's broken. Everything's broken. Alright, let's go repair our gear. It's a good consideration. Yeah, whatever. Wait, I didn't repair. Oh my gosh. Yo, I am definitely excited for SGDQ. Most def. Most def. No! Whew. Oh, I forgot I have 0 lightning resistances. I forgot about that. Not a smart move. Not a smart move, Mr. Llama. Run. No! Oh my gosh. This fight is proving harder than I was hoping it would. You feel like my voice has changed? No, I'm just sick, not sad. Just sick. Oh my gosh.
No, I didn't leave. I'm just reading a bit. on the whole double dipping.
He just hanging out.
No, they changed like shortly after the release. They changed how burn damage worked, or ignite how it was scaled. Before there were two. You had to scale two separate. Like in the early game, you had to scale it through two separate stat lines.
Right.
So you had to scale it through burn damage and fire damage. But then they changed it so that both the fire damage would scale both at the same time, and that's where you have the whole double dip come from.
Gotcha. Dumb fight. Stupid barbarian. I really should have put some light res on. Oh god.
I see you're applying some of that PoE knowledge.
Oh yeah.
On your calm run to this run.
Yep. What was that jump? That was a stun jump. I got stunned basically as I was trying to jump, so rip that. Get him. See, this is where like level starts playing too huge of a factor into the game. Hey, Angelics. Even with all this amazing gear, hitting is still not great against Diablo. That's not an accurate hit right there. This game, man.
Levels factor into your chance to hit.
Yes, levels factor into your chance to hit, and that is the worst thing ever. Like, it's so terrible, because no matter how good of gear you have,
yep,
if your levels are garbage, doesn't matter. I guess I can switch over to Sanders now. I guess that's where we'll go. Where's my ort? Come on, baby. 35 faster cast
How
rate.
much have you actually...
What up? All right, sorry, go ahead.
How much have you actually tried to like speedrun PoE?
I have done one character through normal Malachi, and then I've done some like mapping stuff before. But I've only done one that's like completed through.
Have you put any effort into like loading recipes and like raising strats and stuff like that?
So I've got some basic stuff down. I've taken notes on all of the maps, Act 1 through Act 3, of like maybe ways that you might want to run and stuff. But there's not a ton of great resources. Even the resources that are out there are still like 50-50, kind of.
Very
like
hard to compare. It's yeah.
You know, they're like, well, I think you might run this way, but this is just my personal experience. I don't really know if it's the best way. And then somebody else is like, actually, this way, you know. So there's like kind of conflicting arguments out there in education, which is a problem. But you know, but it's definitely improved. It's definitely improved my, you know, understanding and ability to figure out things. So I've learned some of that stuff. I've learned, you know, like how to craft a ruby ring, and then how to craft that ruby ring into a +1 fire, and you know, just like things that are kind of basic with it. But there's still a lot of stuff to learn, right? There's still a lot of things to kind of learn with the game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things. So, yo, Saris, thank you so much for that sub. Can we get a little noogie choo choo in the chat there?
How could you give me like a quick walkthrough of what you would do on like a D2 speedrun? Like how would you not everything in detail, but like some of the more important things that you would some of the decisions you would go through?
Sure.
Throughout the race?
So when I'm racing, I want to get to the tower, get a map that has good shrines, because I want experience shrines. I'm going to be spending the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever of the run, farming that tower for good runes. And so I need to make sure, I need to try and find those runes. If I don't find those runes, I have to reset the run. But along the way, it's very important that you're gaining experience there as well. So you want to have experience shrines and skill shrines and things like that to kind of help you through. So I get that. And then After I get that, it's just kind of progressing through Runda and Dariel. You know, you want to end there around level 13, 14. Then through Act 2, you just want to go get your parts. You want to find beetles in the far oasis if you can. You're still focused on your experience in Act 2. And then Act 3, you just need a little bit more experience to basically get near that level 20, because experience starts to diminish at this point because you're starting to become too low of level to really gain it when you kill things. Act 4, you really don't care about experience at all. You're just trying to rush through and, kill whatever. Kill Diablo as fast as you can, the seals and whatever. And then Act 5 is literally just a rush to Ancients, kill Ancients, rush to Baal, kill Baal, dodge everything else. In a hell run, you'll do things like what I'm doing now, where I like open the prison doors and stuff. But other than that, no, you're just kind of rushing through. So that's kind of your general stuff. You're looking for movement speed on boots and things. You're looking for resistances. That's always a huge piece if you can find plus to resistances. Other than that, though, you just kind of, there's just quick things. You give a quick glance. Oh, okay, fast rate recovery, great. Movement, can't be frozen, awesome. Movement speed, cool. Resistances, sweet. Other than that, you're tossing a lot of stuff. But there's different things. On a Barbarian early on in the game, plus to damage is really huge. Later on in the game, maybe not as much, right? So there's things like that. I don't know.
It's kind of like to draw a comparison between. No, I'm just like trying to get some comparisons to how I feel you would enjoy PoE. Like, cause I'm like seeing whether or not you would enjoy PoE speedrunning on like a long-term basis.
Right.
Just whether or not this would be the game. Cause one of the things that really I think makes that such an enjoyable experience is also like we have a lot of like vendor recipes in PoE.
Right.
Like you have that one, for instance. Like there's, I hope that they're gonna add more. It's really one of my favorite things, vendor recipes.
Hey, you can like make move speed boots with a quicksilver flask and some boots and things like that.
Yeah. All those small things that you can.
I've looked at some of those.
If you have bad luck, you can use it to gain like maybe not the full power of what you were hoping to drop, but maybe like, I don't know, 50-80% of it.
Right.
So you can like force a decent piece on the slot.
Yeah.
And then there's also the I guess you do, like, because you run to get runes in PoE. What you would do is you would do something like you would wait for a certain zone before you would start crafting a certain slot, because you would need a certain item level for a certain mod to spawn on a piece. And so that's really something that especially in a longer race, is how you manage your like currency as you're progressing. So that you would never craft anything, that you would always just use the white items that would give you enough power to just rush through early on, and then you would wait till like level 11, 13.
Right.
Because then 2 damage rolls start spawning on like gear and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's all the stuff I want to learn and want to see and want to figure out, as I go through, right, the game. I just don't know it all right now. There's so many things, but I do love. I really like the crafting stuff, for sure. But all right, I have to get heading to my dinner here, but then I'll be back and we'll pick this run up again when I get back.